Well, hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. This is Conversations with Women Like Me, Stories in Business, and I am your host, Julie Fairhurst. Today, I have got a fabulous lady that we're going to be chatting with, and she has so many tips and really interesting things to tell us. So I'm just going to introduce Guelda Redman. So, Guelda, welcome. Thank you for being here, and would you please tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. Let's see. I am a mother of three, grandmother of two. We live in Chilliwack and we have 2.5 acres and we raise sheep and goats. And I think that's pretty much it right now because we used to have alpacas, but we did move on from alpacas, and we do hope to get horses at some point. But we love the life of just kind of being out of the city and a little bit quiet, and it kind of lends itself really well to being a balance between working with a lot of women but also having that space to kind of be on your own when you need to.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, I'm in Chilliwack as well, for anyone who doesn't know, and I love it out here. It is, yeah, there's nature and the people are lovely. And when you just need some time on your own, you actually can do that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
There's so many places around here that you
yeah,
can go and hang out. Yeah.
yeah. It's beautiful. So, Gwilda, you run the BC Women's Network. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. Okay. Back in January of 2017, we had just moved to Chilliwack in the summer of 2016. And I had a business at that point. It was a direct sales. And I had been doing networking where we lived previously and really wanted to find a network in Chilliwack where I could meet people. And there really wasn't one that resonated with me. And so rather than just not doing it, I decided, well, I'll just start my own. So I had started with another company that is down in the States. And I had been to a few meetings with them before and really liked the way that they did it. And so I started doing my own at that point. And it's really morphed since then because I started it. We were only in Chilliwack. We did in-person meetings, and then COVID hit, and we were online. And then we started being able to go back to in person. And at that point, I just had, I think from being online, there were more women from other communities that kind of joined. And so then I started getting asked if I could start meetings in other communities. And I did. And very quickly after that, I started having women say, I could lead this for you. And I thought, wow, they really could. And then the whole thought process of, well, if I don't have to lead them all, we can be all over BC.
Mhm.
And that's really where we started growing because at that point we had women who were on our in our online community, and they loved it so much that they wanted to have meetings in their own communities, and so they've stepped up and have become fabulous chapter leaders for us.
So, how many chapters do you have now?
We have nine. So we're in Chilliwack still.
Wow.
And then we have Abbotsford and Mission. We're in Langley. We're in Tri Cities. And we're in Surrey. And
Wow.
then we are also on the island in Nanaimo. And soon probably in the fall, to open up one in Victoria or just outside of Victoria, west of Victoria. And we have one in Kamloops, which is just popping like crazy.
That's
And we have
amazing.
the Caribou. So in 100 Mile House is what it is.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. That you really have grown. I mean, I know where there's some of them, but I didn't know about all of them. So
Hmm.
that's really amazing. So what would you say to a woman who's thinking about joining a networking group, but maybe apprehensive or not sure what it's all
Hmm.
about?
Hmm. So the thing with networking, if you've never done it before, it's very intimidating, and there's so many different groups, and you really are never sure what you're going to get when you go to a meeting. So really, you need to kind of shop around a little bit and just find the one that you feel really super comfortable with. There are co-ed ones where you have men and women. There are quite a few now that are women only, and ours is women only. And the reasoning behind that, and just for everyone to be aware, women network completely different than men do. We are very relational. We get together and we share a meal. So we all go to a restaurant and we chat and have our meeting over a meal. Um, and we chat. We chat about everything. There's always that component about what our businesses are. We each get 3 minutes to share who we are and what our business is, what our passions are. We talk about anything we need to talk about, anything we want to talk about. And for the rest of the meeting, the conversation goes in so many different directions, just depending on the day and who's there. We have people will bring concerns or questions or things they're having issues with. Everybody there contributes. It's a very safe and inclusive space. So it's not a scary place to ask a question. There's no dumb question. There's no dumb answer. And the thing that I think most people love the most about it is that they've created a lot of friends, a lot of friendships. The communities that have been built in each of these chapters are very strong and tight knit little communities. There's always a core of people that will be there all the time, and then there's always um, new people that come, and not everyone can make every meeting, so they
Right.
come when they can, and there's others that are really, really want to grow their business. And so they're all the time because they don't want to miss out and they want to make sure that when somebody needs a referral, they're the ones that are top of mind. So I think one of the biggest things for networking is finding the one that speaks to you, the one where you feel like you're getting what you need out of it. Always go with the expectation of giving more than you receive
Mhm.
because it's about adding value into people's lives.
Mhm.
And everybody has something we can teach somebody else. And if somebody has a question, there is no gatekeeping in networking. You help, um, we help each other as needed, and we don't hold anything back. We share it all. Um, the other thing is that um, oh, I forgot. I had another thing in my head. Um,
That's what we women need is to be
yes.
able to be open without hiding ourselves and to be able to ask questions. And I know I've been to some of your meetings, and sometimes there's personal questions that are asked, not
Hmm.
just business questions. And
Hmm.
the other thing that I thought was really great is that there's such a variety of ages,
Yes.
which
Yes.
is wonderful.
Hmm. Hmm. Yes. And so there's a lot of opportunity. Like within our online community, there's many different women that have the same businesses. So we have many, many realtors, many, many mortgage brokers, anything like that. We have a lot of. However, each meeting is business exclusive, which means that there's only one woman at each meeting for any specific business type. So there's only one realtor. We foster a community feel at our meetings of collaboration and helping each other, not not competing with each other. So
Right.
we're very protective about the fact that, we don't have negativity in our meetings or online at all.
Yes.
There is no, we don't bash other businesses. We don't bash other business women. And and so that keeps it very, very safe, because we all
Hmm.
know that while we're there, we can say something and nobody's going to make a negative comment about it. And if
Yeah.
they do, then we have pretty strict zero tolerance policy. If
Hmm.
somebody comes in with a not the right attitude, then this just isn't the group for you.
Yeah.
And it happens, but not very often, because most of the women that come, I I'm always amazed at how wonderful the women are, how generous and encouraging and supportive they are for each other, how they genuinely come to care about each other.
Yeah. Well, I know when I moved to Chilliwack, which was 5 years ago now, I didn't know anyone. And I remember coming across you online, and it was during COVID. And I remember I was like nervous.
Hmm.
No, I shouldn't have been, but I was. And so I snooped around and watched for a little bit before I actually stepped out of my comfort zone and went. But it was from the very first moment that I went, I felt welcomed, and I never felt like anyone was competing with me. And yeah, I think it's just wonderful. So for any women that are needing to get some encouragement and some business advice from others, I encourage everyone to step out of their comfort zone because it is a fabulous experience.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So, Gwilda, I do want to ask you, if you don't mind, if we shift gears a little bit, business coaching. So, and I know that your group is exclusive to women, which I love that. I'm all about
Yeah.
that as well. But how do you find with female entrepreneurs and coaching them in business? What do you think their main struggles are?
I think, and I hear this quite a bit, is that that we get these great ideas and we start these amazing businesses, and quite a few of the businesses, they come out of a sense of need. So I have a need, I figure out how to meet that need or fix it, or I find the solution, and then they want to start a business where they can share that solution with other women that have the same problem. And so quite often we have these great things. We've got a passion and we jump in with both feet. We're going to do this. It's going to be great. They get a website, they get everything, and then crickets. And
Right.
and they find that it just, okay, I was not prepared for how long it's going to take to grow. And businesses too, they are like, for sure, the first year you're not going to grow that much.
Hmm.
There's so much work to do in your first year.
Yes.
um, you're putting in a ton of time with very little payback. The second year, it's going to, you're eventually, it's going to grow, and it can be less and less work, right, eventually. But it takes a while to get to the point where you're at a spot where you're not working 24/7, and you're actually now making money.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that for a lot of women, there's that, they've gotten their business going, they're kind of coming to the end of their first year, and they're thinking, I'm a failure. It didn't work. And so, I'm there to say, what, for that is completely normal
Yes, I
to
agree.
begin with. And also, the other thing that they don't really do is create a business plan. They don't
Mhm.
create a business and marketing plan. And so, what I do with my coaching package is we go right back to the very beginning, and we start a 9-week process of walking through all the steps as if we're starting the business again. And because things change. And I think that's
Mhm.
something else that people are not really prepared for, is that every 2 months, you're you might have be like shifting a little bit. And where you thought you were going to end up in a year can be way, way off now, because every month it's kind of the focus shifts, and you're
Yes.
not really aware of it until after about a year, and you're going, wow, I didn't even hit the mark there at all, what I thought. And so we go right back to the beginning. We start with what is your business? Why are you doing it? What is your purpose? What's your vision? What's your mission? We talk about who your ideal client is.
Hmm.
We figure out what your niche is for your business, what who your ideal client is, and and we also look for a tribe. So for the women that are in my group, we are your tribe. We are
Yes.
the people that lift you up and encourage you and support you when you're struggling. And we're the ones you come to when you're having an issue and you can't figure out how to do something. We have a ready made tribe for you right here. But your niche and your ideal client, which a lot of people have not even really thought about, they haven't
Hmm.
niched down. Their marketing is way too broad. And then we talk about, when you know who your ideal client is, how do you speak to them? How do you market to them? Where do you find them?
Yes.
What do they do? What are their hobbies? How much money do they have? Like all the things, right? And sometimes we start a business where we want to help people. And so we think our ideal client is the person that can't afford to go to somebody else. But here's a reality: if they can't afford you, you are not going to make money. And your first thing you need to realize is you have to create a revenue with your business. Now, that doesn't mean you can't help the people that don't have money,
Right.
but you don't want to be, your business cannot be a charity. Your business has to be a business first, and then from your success you can do charity.
Yes.
So your ideal client has to be someone who can afford you. It has to be someone who needs you, and it has to be someone that you can help.
Yes.
And then once you are successful, then you can help the others that can't afford you. You
Yeah.
can offer discounts or whatever. But
Yes.
so many of us, especially with women, we have such
Yeah.
soft hearts, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's all about that. It's all about starting over and walking through all the steps to know how to market, where to find them, everything.
Yeah.
And then by the end of it, they have a very comprehensive business and marketing plan and know exactly what to do.
It makes complete sense because if you think about any of the big guys, any of the big corporations, or anybody who's ever wanted to get funding to start a business, they have to
Mm-hmm.
have a plan. They have to
Mm-hmm.
have a business plan in place. And I 100% agree with you. And I think that's fabulous and that's great because they're sort of got all of some of their tools together,
Mm-hmm.
but they missed the plan.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think that that's a really a great place for starting for sure. What do you think what do you think of social media? What do you think how do you, when you're talking with these ladies and coaching them, are we overcoming that fear of being on social media, or where are people at, or where are the women at?
Yeah, that's definitely a huge, huge part of it. And having your different tools on social media, I do talk about that even in the group, and just say, like, if you have a group, like a private group, people can't find you. They're not going
Mhm.
to find you. They're not going to see your posts. So you're not collecting more followers. You have to have something that's public in order to do that. And a lot of people don't want to use their profile, their personal profile, which I totally understand. They want to
Mhm.
share pictures about their kids, so it's private. But they'll have a business page. They might have a business page, but they don't see the difference between the two. And so what I always say about that is your business page is like your storefront. Your business page is what attracts people. So it's like your store window. It's attracting people to wonder what's inside. And then from there, you invite them into your community, which is your group. And that's inviting them into your shop, whatever it is that you do, your
Right.
services or whatever.
Right.
So it's really important to utilize, and people are worried as well for business because you're not friends on a business page. They're just, you just follow or you just like it. And they wonder, oh, well, there's so many bots and they're all liking it. And it's like, you don't care. You don't care who
Yes.
likes it. It doesn't matter who likes it. Doesn't matter at all. Those are the people that are just walking up and down the sidewalk outside, and they do not matter. You are not inviting them into your community. So it doesn't
Yes.
matter who walks by outside.
Yes.
So, and when you're sharing things, you're sharing value add, tips, tricks. You're basically creating your storefront, your store window that makes people stop and go, oh, I want to go in there. And then you invite them in.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's
That,
very, very powerful. However,
yes.
I will also say, don't only run a business with social media. You
Hmm.
have to be collecting emails, because you do not own your page or your
Hmm.
group. And
Yes.
Facebook or Meta can at any time shut you down and you have lost everybody. So you
Yes.
always have to have a backup plan. You always have to have something else on the go that you're bringing people to as well.
Well, and that is very timely, Guelda,
Mm-hmm.
for you to say that, because in the United States they just went through that. Are we banning TikTok and then of course unbanning TikTok? And I have several friends that are doing extremely well on TikTok, making money. I
Yes.
have one friend who's made a couple $100,000 coaching on TikTok, and she's in the United States, and there was panic
Oh
when that
yeah.
was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was down for I think 24 hours or something like that. Then it came back on, and I've been just reading their comments and following what's been happening with them, and they're they're feeling better now, but they're all like, we have to plan.
Yeah.
And so that is so timely for you to say that. It is so true. We need to don't put all your eggs in one basket.
No. No.
No, no, because we don't, yeah, it's free. So we don't control it.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
like you're paying for it, and they
No.
can take it down, or a government can do whatever they want. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that is absolutely great advice for sure. I wanted to also ask you about strategy. So what do you think, what would you say that your top three strategies would be for women who are building their business?
Um, I think that setting smart goals. So they're called smart goals because they're they're achievable. So there's something that you can measure, and it is achievable. And I can't remember what all the letters stand for, but basically that's what it means. So um we can all, and a lot of direct sales agents would like set a big audacious goal, something that's completely out of your comfort zone. That can be okay, but realistically what you want is to be just outside of your comfort zone, because there is growth in that, but it has to be something you believe you can achieve. Otherwise your motivation to actually work towards it is not going to be there. So setting goals, and having a business plan,
Mhm.
really, because what happens is you get great ideas. So here's my brain. I've got like 1,000 pop-ups or tabs open at any given time. So I'm thinking, and all of a sudden a great idea pops into my head, and I think, ooh, I wonder if we could do this. But then if I look at my business plan and my vision and my mission, and it doesn't
Mhm.
line up with that, then it's an easy no. It's an easy no. I can still write it down on a sticky note and stick it on the wall because
Yeah.
maybe at some point it will come in play. But right for my goal for today or for this year, it's not, it doesn't line up. So it's an easy no. But if you know if you know where your focus needs to be at any time, then you it's not about just having a to-do list. It's about having also a not to-do list. For every day, you have a to-do list of things that you need to do, but you also need to write down your not to-do list. So strategy, I think, would be create those goals and break them down to monthly, weekly, daily, what you need to do. You're going to monthly do an evaluation to see if you're on the trajectory to get where you wanted to be in a year. And you also are going to evaluate is, have things changed enough that that isn't my goal for the year now? Maybe something's changed. And that always happens, and it's okay. But it has to, you have to know where you need to be at the end of the year.
Mhm. I think
And
that I think just from what you just said, it made me think about real estate because of course that's the background that I have. And I have found that realtors who jump companies, so
mm-hmm.
they're in Royal LePage, then they're in Remax, then they're in Home Life, then they're at wherever they're at. They start jumping, they're usually out of the business a short time after that. What I think people don't understand is that you are your brand.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what company you're with, they're hiring you. And I think that's similar to what you were just saying is that yeah, figuring out what's your plan and just sticking your nose to the grindstone and going for it and don't deviate. And just on that as well, I have seen a lot of women online over the years who they start off doing one thing and then they shift to something else. And then
Yeah.
now they're shifting to something else. And then they're shifting to something else. And they lose their focus.
Mm-hmm. They lose their focus. They let those great ideas pop in and change where their focus is. And you're right. If you start doing that, if you start going down those rabbit trails, you're never going to find your way back onto the main trail. And so people get frustrated and they end up just giving up, really.
Mhm.
Um, and I think the other strategy is to the other thing about that too, I wanted to say was that, if you have your focus, you're not just ending up spending the day doing busy work or, for the whole week. And then at the end of the week, you realize you didn't actually get anything done. You were really busy. You worked really
Yeah.
hard all week, but you
Been
didn't
there.
actually accomplish anything. So,
Yes.
and that also is super typical. I think one strategy for sure is finding a tribe or a network that, um, you can either find someone to hold you accountable, do an accountability group. You can join in masterminds where you can learn so much faster. Uh, you can take workshops and courses, but don't overdo that.
Mhm.
And I think one of the things is if you're going to follow someone for business advice, then follow one person because you'll get 10 different coaches, you get 10 different advice. So
Absolutely.
again, even with a coach, you need to find the person that resonates with you and what they're saying makes sense and stick with that.
Mhm.
And don't hop all over the place. Once you find what you want, then stick with it.
Yes.
And then you have to believe in yourself. You need to believe in yourself and you need to know what motivates you. Because all of us, even though we start out with this passion and this drive to get something accomplished, every single one of us gets to a point where we're thinking, oh, you know what? Maybe I don't really want to do this after all. And maybe, yeah, why am I doing this again?
I shouldn't laugh.
No, I know, but every single person I talk to, that's what
Yeah.
they do. And so
Yeah.
you need to know like what motivates you. And now for me, networking meetings motivate me so much. And the other thing is, maybe it's music. Maybe you're going to turn on, you're having a schlumpy day and you decide you're going to put on some dance music and you're going to get up and have a little dance party with yourself. And you're just going to switch the brain from kind of to woohoo, right? And
Yes.
then you can sit down and feel motivated to do some work again.
Yes. Yeah.
Keep a journal about what you're working towards, and then go back in the journal and read and go, oh wow, I did that. Oh yeah, I accomplished that. Because so many of these small little steps we don't take the time to acknowledge that we've accomplished, and we don't take the time to celebrate that
Well,
we've.
and I agree with what you're saying, and I think also we as women don't give ourselves enough credit. And I was actually just reading something earlier today, which made me think of this after what you said. Is it said women need to brag.
Mm,
Now, I suppose if you say, "Oh, you should be bragging," people go, "Oh, no, I shouldn't brag." But we need to talk about our wins. And we have a lot of them, but we don't what's the word I'm looking for? We don't give ourselves enough credit
yeah,
for our
yeah,
wins.
yeah.
And sometimes we need to, you start to, if somebody says, "Oh, let's do a bio." I know so many people are like, "Oh, a bio. Oh." But once you start to do your bio, you start to put in your little wins, and all of a sudden you realize, I've actually been doing really well.
Hmm. Yeah, you're actually really awesome, but but if you don't kind of have it written down anywhere, I think it's hard to see it sometimes. So,
Yes.
but you're right. I think that as women, we're societally, culturally, we are the person who does all the nurturing, but not the person who gets nurtured. We always put everybody else ahead of us. And this is one of the issues I find a lot with the women in our group, is that they may really want to come to a meeting, but they don't have support at home. The kid gets sick. Oh, I can't leave my child sick. Oh, is your husband not home? Oh yeah, but he doesn't know what to do. Or you know uh, or they're a single parent and they have nobody that will step in and just give them that break that they need once in a while. Or maybe if they do get a break, they're going to go out with their friends and go party instead of working on their business. Like, there's so many different little things, and not to say that any of it is wrong, but I think that we've never really been told it's okay to put yourself and your business first.
Mm-hmm.
You need to, because if you're successful, always says like put your own mask on first, right? Um, but it's the same with the rest of our lives as well. We need to be looking after ourselves. And if something, we have a passion about something, it brings us alive. And so being able to live that out and not feel guilty about it
Mm-hmm.
is
Yes.
really important. And so, we preach a lot too about just giving yourself the permission to be number one, and unapologetically.
Yes. Because one day the kids are going to move out. One day you're going to be going, "Oh, hmm, now what? Now what do I
Yeah.
do?" And we need
Yeah.
to be a better parent, a better spouse, a better person. We need to have a full life. We need
Hmm.
to be doing things for ourselves.
Yeah. we need to be
that makes
living
us
our own
better.
life as well, for sure.
Yes,
For
yes, for
sure.
sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Gwelda, love this conversation. I could go on for hours with
I
you.
know.
It's
Barely scratched the surface.
I know it's so good. One thing I would like to say before we close is to anyone that might be watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast is we in this society now, this business world, we are our own bosses.
Hmm.
Most of us are working from home and we're alone. We spend a lot of time alone, not the way we used to. We had an office to go to, we had this to go to. So, if any women are out there and you're listening or watching and you're feeling that loneliness, even if you're not in British Columbia, where you can't join one of Guelda's chapters, find who is in your area. And if there is no one in your area, take a deep breath and start your own networking group. But do
Yeah.
something so that you've got that motivation, as Gwelda said, and stimulation out there. Because without it, um, we start to just die inside. And then a lot of us give up.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And nobody wants to be, there's just so much. There's just so much that, knowing for myself, if and when I retire, I'm not going to sit around and knit, or I'm not a traveler. I don't really like going anywhere. I like my home. I like my own bed. But oh my gosh, I know I've got my community around me, and yeah,
It's just so important, especially
I'm
for us
super grateful.
females.
Yeah.
We are uh yeah,
Challenges
we
for
need engagement. We need friendship. We need
sure.
to be able to chat.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
challenging sometimes. I mean,
Hmm.
it's challenge. It's not just easy going small talk. We get into deep stuff
We do,
sometimes.
we do, we do. I know.
Yeah.
Try to get my husband to go deep.
Yeah.
What? Why are you asking that? I'm like, oh dear, it's okay, never mind. I'll talk at the ladies group.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah. Well, I want to mention to, again, anyone watching or listening, that if they would like to reach out to Guelda, whether it's to do with some business coaching, whether it's to do with starting their own networking group, or whether it's finding out about where you can join one of Guelda's groups, all of her details will be in the details section of the video and of the podcast. So you will be able to find her and reach out to her. And I do encourage you to do that because she's a wealth of information, and she's here to help, just like the rest of us. So don't be shy. So Gwelda, before we close, do you have any last words of wisdom that you would like to share?
Um, just we often allow a bit of fear, or feeling like we're not good enough, that we're not going to fit in, to stop us from connecting. Um, every woman who comes to the networking group says she was nervous to walk through the door the first time. So that's so completely normal. Um, but know that if there's a group out there that's for women, they want you there.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter. They want you there. So do it for yourself. The amount of personal and professional growth that you will find there is worth so much money, and you will it's exponential what you will get out of it. So
Mhm.
do it for yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, Gwelda, thank you. Thank you again for being willing to do this with me. And again, if anyone wants to reach out to Gwelda, make sure you check out the details section because all of her information and links to find her will be there. So thank you very much, Gwelda, for being
Thank you.
here. Really appreciated it. Thank you all for being here with us, and we'll see you again soon.